Oh, it's definitely correct.
Right.
You should have been recording that.
Morning, how are you guys?
Good, how are you?
How are you?
A little sleeping? All right, well, we are continuing our talk this morning. Let's just recap real quickly. Yesterday morning, we talked about the fact of what? What did you say morning? Anybody remember what we talked about yesterday morning? Quick recap, yes ma'am. That is sort of true, I was thinking maybe slightly more specific than that. Yes, sir?
Instead of doing what makes you happy, do what God wants.
All right, we talked about that the world tends to do what makes you happy. That's the world's way. Go with what feels good. Go, fulfill yourself. The world puts it a lot of different ways, but it comes down to go with your gut, go with your heart, go with your dreams, go with what fulfills you. You've got to realize yourself. You've got to understand yourself. You've got to take how you feel and realize it and follow whatever feels good. But we talked about the fact that has not worked out well for the world. That isn't a good strategy for long term, because it means that you can tear relationships apart and people get hurt, and there's a lot of drama around that as people follow their emotions and follow how they feel. And so then what we talked about last night was the opposite side of things and God's pursuit of you. And that it's not about us pursuing God, it's about God pursuing you, and that God desires you, that He desires you passionately, that He has chased you, that He has moved heaven and earth to get to you, because He desires you so, so greatly. And that we don't come to Him so much as allow Him to come to us, allow Him in, allow Him to forgive us, because He's already done the work. He's already done everything, and all we have to do is receive it and accept it and allow Him to come into our lives and to understand how much we're loved. And that, we said that instead of the question of God sitting there going, why should I let you into my heaven? The question being, did you know how much I loved you? Did you understand how much I loved you? That is a very different picture of God than sometimes we get in our heads when we think about us trying to get to God rather than God coming at us and wanting a relationship. So that's what we talk about so far. So these are two very different approaches between the, hey, follow what I want, and then understand, actually I am desired by God. I am what God wants, and responding to that. And so these two approaches kind of are moving in two different directions, because one moves all about me, and the other one becomes about God's pursuit of me. And that's what we're going to talk about this morning. Let's pray. Good morning, Father, Lord, as we come into your word again, Lord, I pray that you'll speak to us this morning, that we'll hear you, that your word will speak to us, that your spirit will speak to us. Lord, you want to talk to us today. You want to speak to each one of us personally, privately. Lord, I pray that we'll listen as you approach us, as you come to us, and receive what you want to tell us and understand how much you love us and what it means for us to respond to you. And I just pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Here's the thing we sometimes don't think about. Jesus. Now, Jesus, of course, is God. And we talked about that Jesus even gave up acting like God and gave up the powers of God to come down and live as a human being because He wanted to get to us, because He loved us so much. He was willing to do all that to get to us, to make the outreach, to come and love on us. What we don't think about is that doing that meant that Jesus started to experience life the way we do. And the Bible makes it really, really clear on this. So if there's a tension between me doing what I want and me responding to God's love for me, if there's a tension there, then if Jesus is like me, then Jesus must have experienced that tension. Jesus must have known what it was like to, on one hand, want to respond to the God who loves him, on the other hand, want to do his own thing. And we don't always think about Jesus wanting to do his own thing. That Jesus had that pull to go his own way. But he did. And we're going to look at it this morning. Turn to Matthew 16. Matthew 16. Now, one of the things, if you ever want to do it, in your personal study, personal devotions, personal time in the Word, read through any of the 4 Gospels, or all the 4 Gospels. And as you're reading through, and just read through the life of Jesus, recorded in the Gospels, and pay attention to the number of times, all through his life, Jesus lived around 30 to 33 years of age when he died, and watch how many times he mentions that he's going to die. Because Jesus is God, he knows why he's come to earth. Now, if I said to you, at the end of this week, I'm going to kill you. A, you'd be like, I hope camp never ends. I never want Friday to come. Oh, you love camp? No, I just don't want to die. But you would be thinking about that all week. You'd wake up Tuesday morning going, whoa, Friday's getting closer. Wednesday, you'd wake up and go, whoa, it's Wednesday. Thursday, you'd wake up and go, tomorrow's Friday. It would be on your mind. Watch Jesus throughout his life, and he keeps remembering what's coming. And it's on his mind, because he's going to die. And it's not going to be pretty. He knows he's going to die hard. He knows he's going to suffer. And watch how, just like you, it's on his mind. So here in Matthew 17, verse 21, we're getting closer. We're not there yet, but we're getting closer. And it's on Jesus' mind. From that time, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things from the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed, and be raised up on the 3rd day. He begins to try to break the news to his followers, and we still got a ways to go before it actually happens, but he's trying to get them used to the idea that, just so you guys know, in a while, this is going to all go bad. And they're going to grab me, and they're going to torture me, and they're going to kill me. Now, if your best friend comes into school one day and says, man, I'm going to die, and they're a close friend to you, what are you going to do? What do you want to do if they're coming in and they're like, really, I'm going to die? What would you do? Well, you guys are such good friends. You'd what? No, they're not going to kill themselves. They're just...
keep it from happening.
Okay, you try to keep it from happening. Or if you think they're just having a bad day, you try to cheer them up, encourage them. No. Well, Peter's one of Jesus' best friends. Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, God forbid it, Lord, this shall never happen to you. Peter's a good friend. No. That's not going to happen. What any friend would do, right? But he, Jesus, turned and said to Peter, get behind me, Satan! Whoa. What's with the name calling? You are a stumbling block to me, for you are not setting your mind on God's interests, but man's. Why does Jesus kind of lash out at Peter? He's not being sinful here. Jesus isn't being sinful. But it is a powerful lash out. He calls Peter Satan. He says, see, Peter, you're being my enemy right now. Peter thinks he's being his friend. But Jesus explains why Peter is being like an enemy to him. Because Jesus, in his own heart, in his own life, as a human, he don't want to die. He don't want to suffer. He didn't want to go through a hard time. He knows that this is going to be really brutal. And he don't want to do it because who would? Who would want to get beat up, tortured, and then killed in one of the most violent ways possible? He don't want it. And yet he's got to, because that's the path. That's the will of God. He's been planning this since before he even created the world. But now the human part of him says, oh, this is going to be hard. I don't want to do it. And so the part that has the relationship with God says, hey, this is where we're going. This is where, I'm God and this is where we're going. And the part of him that's human is going, I don't want that. I don't want that. I want this. And then Peter comes along and he encourages the wrong part. He encourages the part that wants to go the way of do whatever feels right, whatever feels good. But that way is not going to achieve God's will of saving the world. And so he turns on Peter and says, Peter, you're not helping. Your mind is on the world's way, not God's way. And that is stressing me out. You're causing me to stumble. You're trying to get me to go the way that feels good, not the way that is right. Stop it. And so Jesus experiences that tension between do whatever feels right, do what works best for you, which for him would be avoiding death, and what fulfills God's mission. And then he says, he's not done, verse 24, he tells his disciples, if anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. And he says, hey guys, you're watching me not put what I want first, but put what I want away. And if you want to follow me, that's what it takes. Verse 25, whoever wishes to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Because again, these two ways are going in opposite directions. He says, so if you're going to pursue, get whatever you want, pursue your desires, you're going to end up with nothing. But if you're willing to walk away from that pursuit and follow me, then you'll find real life. Remember I told you that God did not give me what I wanted, but he gave me what I wanted? I couldn't pursue what I want. You pursue what you want, and you're going to end up with nothing. But if you allow God to give you the good gifts that God has for you, then you end up with everything. He says, so you've got to give up that whole lifestyle and follow me. Go the other way. And then he gives the perspective here, verse 26. For what will it profit a man? What good is it if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? Or what will a man give in exchange for his soul? He says, what good is it if you pursue everything you want and you get it all and then have nothing? Because it all goes away. Because everything goes away. Remember Solomon? He got it all. He gained everything. And said, and it's worthless. I got everything I wanted. It worked. You ever notice that some of the most miserable people are the ones who have everything? Think of Aaron Hernandez or Tiger Woods. Or some of these actors who end up going down. Tremendous success. All the money they need, all the relationships they want, pretty much whatever they want they can have, and they are miserable. And they're all doing drugs. Why are they all doing drugs? Because they got everything and went, I don't feel happy. I need something to help me feel happy. I thought this was going to make me happy. It's not making me happy. I guess I need to take something. I guess I need to have a drink. I need to do something. Now I feel happy. Oh, it wore off. I guess I need more. And it's gone. They gain the whole world and lose themselves and lose their soul. He says, what? Why? That's not worth it. But that's the tension. What will it profit if you gain everything and still lose your soul? What would you give in exchange for that? So that's Jesus' tension between allowing God to draw him towards him, and again, Jesus is God, or being drawn by how he feels. Now we have the same tension, right? There's a big part of you that says, but I want this, but I want this. And you can feel it just pulling you. And sometimes it's like, I want to go. I want to go this way. This is where my heart wants to go. And we feel this tension. Turn to Matthew 19, just over a couple chapters. Matthew 19, I'm going to start in verse 16. I love it when I find good church kids in the Bible, and Matthew 19:16 has a good church kid. Matthew 19:16, and someone came to him, Jesus, and said, Teacher, what good thing shall I do that I may obtain eternal life? I want to be a good boy. What do I need to do? Jesus said to him, why are you asking me about what is good? There's only one who is good. But if you wish to enter into life, keep the commandments. Then he said to him, which ones? Jesus said, you shall not commit murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness. Honor your father and mother, and you shall love the neighbor as yourself. Basically sums up most of the 10 Commandments. The young man said, I have all these things I have kept. What am I still lacking? Jesus said to him, if you wish to be complete, go and sell your possessions and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. And come follow me. When the young man heard this statement, he went away grieving, for he was one who owned much property. And Jesus said to his disciples, truly I say to you, it is hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. Again, I say to you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. This guy wants to be good. He wants to be the good kid, be the good guy. So he goes to Jesus. He's kind of looking for validation here. All I got to do. God says, what? And what Jesus is trying to do, you say, well, Jesus gives him some weird answers at first. Jesus is trying to help him understand that being good is not the point. Jesus is trying to talk to him the same way he would talk to the older brother in the story last night. Don't you understand it's not about what you do? Because you're just never, that's not the point. But he tries to do it in a way that will help the guy get it himself, but the guy doesn't get it. So Jesus says, well, you got to keep the commandments. And hopefully the guy says, well, I try that, but I'm not always very good at it. But the guy isn't really alert that he's not as good as he thinks he is. So he goes, I've kept them. But which ones? So Jesus names them off. I've done all those. I doubt it. So the guy's he's still not dealing in reality. He's like, I'm a good kid. It's like, yeah, but even good kids aren't that good. So Jesus is like, all right, I guess I got to zero in on this guy because he's just not getting it. So he goes right for the jugular. He knows, because he's Jesus, so he knows what this guy's major issue is. So he goes right for the heart of the matter. He goes, okay, fine. One thing. Just give away everything you have. They're like, I won't do that. Because that was the one thing he really wanted to have. That was his want. Remember, there's two ways to go. Follow what you want or accept the love of God. He says, well, I'm following God. And he's like, no, you're following you. Okay, let me show it to you. Give up everything you have. I can't do that. I want it. Exactly. And he goes, it's hard. It's hard when you're doing things your own way. When you're doing your own thing. A lot of us, we want to do our own thing and have God. I'm going to be my own person. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to define myself, and do what I want and be good. And be a good Christian and love God and go to heaven while I do my own thing. And that's what this guy was. He's going to do his own thing, but he wants God to pat him on the head and say, you're a good boy. And God's like, nah, that's not how that works. Either you're going my way or you're going your way. You can't go both ways because they go in opposite directions. This guy was trying to pretend he was going this way, all the while pursuing what he wanted. But he was trying to say, well, what I want isn't bad, so it's okay. And Jesus is like, no, it's not about whether you're good or bad. It's about whether you're yours or mine. And a lot of us, that's the tension. Jesus had to decide. It wasn't wrong for Jesus to want to stay alive. Except that wasn't the way God was going. God was going this way. Is Jesus God's, or is Jesus going to be his own person? Jesus said, if you want to follow me, you've got to give up yourself and be mine. You can't pursue your own way. You can't pursue your own wants. This guy, he had a lot of his own wants. And Jesus said, it's hard when you got a lot. When you're getting everything you want, you're not going to turn away from it. Yeah, but I want. Come this way. Yeah, but I want. Come this way. Yeah, but I want. And we chase. It's hard, but you can't combine the two ways. Luke 14. Jesus talks about this. He was experiencing this. He knows this is how it's going to go. He knows a lot of people that he's pursuing are going to say, sorry, God, appreciate the offer, but I've got my own thing going. Thank you for loving me. Awesome, but I'm busy pursuing what I want. Luke 14:16. But he, Jesus, said to them, a man was giving a big dinner, and he invited many. And at the dinner hour, he sent his slave to say to those who had been invited, "Come, for everything is ready now." But they all alike began to make excuses. The first one said to him, "I have bought a piece of land. I need to go out and look at it. Please consider me excused." Another one said, "I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I am going to try them out. Please consider me excused." Another said, "I have married a wife, and for that reason I cannot come." And the slave came back and reported this to his master. Then the head of the household became angry and said to his slave, "Go out at once into the streets and the lanes of the city, and bring in here the poor and crippled and blind and lame." And the slave said, "Master, what you have commanded has been done, and there is still room." And the master said to the slave, "Go out into the highways along the hedges and compel them to come in, so that my house may be filled. For I tell you, none of those men who were invited shall taste of my dinner." Jesus says, "I put out the invitation." A lot of people's like, "Thank you, can't make it. I'm busy. I'm pursuing a woman. I'm pursuing a new car. I'm pursuing a land deal. I've got things to do. Thank you. Please excuse me." Because they're walking their own way. They're too busy doing their own thing. When we end up taking our own thing over what God has for us, we lose out. Imagine, going back to my story, imagine if I had just refused to give up what I wanted as I thought I knew what I wanted in a woman. And rather than saying, "Okay, God, you just keep saying no, I'm going to follow you," just followed her. Never would have met Sarah. Never would have had the life I have. I would have lost out what God has for me because I'm pursuing me. And God has a whole plan for my life, and I can walk away from it by saying, "Yeah, but I want my thing." Here the master had a massive banquet, and they said, "Sorry, I've got plans." And it's hard when we're doing our own thing. That's the tension. If you're going to do your own thing, so again, some of us as Christians, we think we can try to do both. I want God, but I want to do my own thing. You can't. You cannot do both. If you think you're going to do both, you know what you're going to do? You're not going to take what God has for you. You're not going to take what God has for you.